Supreme Court ruling in favor of marriage equality is a good hint at the happy ending. Our served from the counter passed the grill and fryers and into the back room. She tore her yellow headscarf off triumphantly as she clocked out. Then she put on her sweater and her padded royal blue jacket and slammed the middle door behind her. The sun was setting. It was about 10 after 5. Her brother was scheduled to pick her up at 5:30. Ours still behind the building. She put up her hood and looked up. The sky was streaked with violet. Long white wisps of clouds unfurled like banners. A single bright star came out from behind a cloud. She watched for a moment. It stayed in one place, so she knew it was a star, not an airplane. It was bright enough to be a planet, either Jupiter or Venus. She thought about the fact the star was light years away. Maybe her junior year physics teacher was right. Perhaps they were made from the stars they wished on. Most of the atoms spinning around in her body were made from stardust. Art would never admit it. In physics class last year, she had just rolled her eyes along with the others, but the fact was that she did have dreams. She wished that she could be with Linda forever. She wished that Linda's mother would stop telling her daughter that it was a waste of time to study trigonometry, and that she would stop telling Linda that her life was going to turn out just like hers. She stared at the star. It was so bright that it seemed to be burning a hole in the winter sky. She wished she and Linda could make a life together. She wished they could get married. She wished that they could even have a kid or two. But first they had to get through this last year of high school. Getting into the trig class would be easy compared to the rest. When I heard that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of same-sex marriage, I was sitting in a diner in Levittown with my 96-year-old father and his 91-year-old lady friend. The sound on the TV was muted when the news broke, so I read the captions and then read them again to make sure I wasn't imagining things. I clapped and loudly exclaimed, "We won!" I was the only one in the diner who was paying any attention to the news. As my father and lady friend quietly agreed with me, I noticed a white man about 10 years older than me with a bandana on his head and who sported a grizzly beard staring at me with a hostile glint in his eye as if thinking, "So you're one of those." I stared back pleasantly until he lowered his gaze. I grew up in Levittown, a working-class suburb of Philadelphia. In the early 1980s, a year after I had moved away, a young gay man named Anthony Milano, who lived in the area, was brutally murdered by two men who confessed to killing him and are still on death row. It was the first recorded hate crime. I always thought that it was some kind of innate survival tactic, that I came out after I moved to the relative safe haven of Germantown, Mount Airy. My partner, Barbara, and I have been together for 31 years. And during that time, have occasionally come to this church, mostly for Folk Factory concerts. When we first started attending somewhat regularly, several years ago, I mentioned to Barbara that it was nice to come to a church that was so accepting of gay people. "If they weren't, we wouldn't be here," she replied, without missing a beat. I had to admit that once again, she was right. Lots of LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people avoid religion because we have experienced religious intolerance. When I started attending in earnest, I learned that UUs have been marching for LGBT rights as long as I have, if not longer. The UUA website states that as Unitarian Universalists, we not only open our doors to people of all sexual orientation and gender identities, we value diversity of sexuality and gender and see it as a spiritual gift. When I heard that the theme for this month is abundance, I wanted to do something on marriage equality. For me, there is an abundance in being yourself. This probably fits every UU principle, but this especially resonates in the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It was fitting, perhaps, that I was in Levittown when I heard the Supreme Court ruling on marriage equality. I had no idea how amazed I would feel that marriage equality is actually a reality in the entire country. And I am proud of my country because this ruling is having a ripple effect around the world, in countries where people are still being imprisoned because of who they love. But the man staring at me with hostility was a reminder that much work needs to be done, especially in small towns and in the South, especially in the areas of discrimination in housing, employment, and for the rights of transgender people. In being myself, in being out, I feel the abundance of being able to change the world by being who I am. By being myself, I make room for others to be themselves. Perhaps that is true for all of us, regardless of our sexual orientation. If we are ourselves and if we are secure in ourselves, we make it easier for others to be themselves. In researching and writing Art, a novel of revolution, love, and marriage, I explore how social movements in the lifetime of my characters overlap to reshape society. These movements include civil rights and racial justice, feminism and reproductive rights, labor and economic justice, and gay liberation, which became LGBT rights. Add climate change, another UU priority, and it's easy to see how these issues are all connected. We are human, and we live on this planet. We are all connected. We are larger than ourselves. There is abundance in the struggle.